What is going on, Swoopers? Welcome back to the final episode of the regular season, the most depressing episode of them all. Let's just roll the intro and jump straight into dissecting this diabolical game, I guess. So, Collingwood went down to GWS by 4 points and I don't know, it was a shambles. The game was just, it just felt like, I'm not going to say that it felt like we didn't care because, you know, how can you not care about a prelim? But it just felt like, with all the build-up saying Richmond-Collingwood Grand Final, Richmond-Collingwood Grand Final, I reckon the players started thinking Richmond-Collingwood Grand Final, and GWS said, yeah, you know what? It's a GWS Richmond Grand Final. And they just came and just hit us harder. They played better. They looked like they wanted it way more than us. And I'm not saying like that because everyone's so cliche and everyone says it, but they were harder to the ball, first to the ball, cleaner with possessions in the wet. And, you know, when you don't score a goal for 64, 65 minutes, it's hard to win any game of football, let alone the second biggest game of the season. The first half was classic wet weather game football. We kicked 3 goals, 2 up until half time. The Giants kicked 2 goals, 5. But in saying that, the game was played pretty much in the Giants' forward 50 and their half of the ground. When we did transition the ball into our half, we didn't take our chances as much as we should have. And this is literally what I've been saying all year. We don't put teams to the sword. And it's not like we were dominant because we weren't that dominant. GWS should have put us to the sword. But we just didn't make enough of our chances when we got up into that forward 50. And in a game like that, you have to make the most of those chances. It was pretty much a game of 2 halves. That first half, really wet weather football. Rain was pouring. That second half, GWS came out firing from the first bounce in that third quarter. Kicked 5 goals. They kicked 7 in a row between the second quarter, third, and then the first goal in the fourth. But in that last quarter, after Jeremy Cameron kicked a goal, put them up by 33 points, the biggest lead of the game, Collingwood were like, oh, actually, you know what? We might do something now. We haven't done anything for 75 minutes, so let's pull our fingers out and try and win this game. And, you know, try they did. You know, 33 points down. The ball was in our forward 50 for, I reckon, 80% of that last quarter. And we kicked 4 goals, 5. Those 5 points were just, some of them were very gettable goals. But you can't blame the players for missing goals that should be gettable and saying, oh, you know, Ben Reid missed it or Chris May missed it in that last quarter. We could have won. No, you should have won by kicking a goal in the 65 minutes that you didn't kick a goal. And that's just atrocious. It's hard to watch. It was hard to watch. It's hard to speak about now. It's hard to think about. The 50-50s just didn't go our way. We know that to win premierships, you need luck. And that just wasn't what we had. But even though I am bitterly disappointed, I was up until 2 a.m. just crying. It was just... Congratulations has to be said to GWS. They stuck in there. They hit us hard. They came out like, you know, in that second half especially, like they wanted it more than us, and they did want it more than us. So, you know, hopefully they smash the Tigers next week. So, I think our backline did a decent enough job when the ball was coming down there. You know, especially in that first half, we were just getting bombarded, you know, with inside 50s by the Giants. And they did stand up really well. One guy who was built for finals football, who's only played in his second final yesterday, was Darcy Moore. I just think he was just... Oh man, I don't want to say, you know, I don't want to go back to last year and say if we had him, we would have won that premiership. But he's just built for finals football. He was on the biggest stage. He ran down Cameron after being, you know, 10 metres behind him or whatever it was. And he tested his hamstrings out really well. Very good closing speed, intercept marking. Even Jeremy Howe did really well, stood up when we needed him to in that first half. Between Moore and Howe, they had 25 intercept possessions, and without them, we would have got smashed by more than we... Not that we got smashed, but we would have lost the game by more than we did. Another thing I liked was Jack Crisp played his absolute heart out. Didn't get any clearances, only went at about 54% disposable efficiency, but he provided run when everyone just looked stagnant, and we had to chuck him into the midfield. We were losing by that much. We had to chuck him into the midfield to give us a little bit of run, and we only do that when we're losing games and getting, you know, smashed around the ball. So credit to Crisp, he can hold his head high, which you can't say for many of the other players. And the third thing that I did like was we did show a little bit of fight in that last quarter, but like everyone's been saying, it was a little bit too late. And, you know, it was great to see the fight. It was great to see the guys wanting it and the game plan changing finally. But when you don't do that for 3 quarters, you know, what can you do? You win. You come back from 5 goals down, and then Richmond, you know, smash you by 70 points next week. No, thank you. I can't deal with that. So naturally, there is more to dislike in this game than there is to like. First cab off the rank, I just talked about it. 65 minutes without a goal is utterly pathetic. It's devastating. It's shithouse. It's terrible. A team like Collingwood to not score for over an hour on the second biggest stage in the AFL season is just, it's just ridiculous, and it's laughable. We did not deserve to win. If we had won that game, we definitely didn't deserve to win it. It would have just been a fluke and all based on luck. You can't go into any game, let alone a prelim, not scoring for so long. We scored our last goal before that goals in the 4th quarter came at the start of the 2nd quarter, and then that was it. We let the Giants kick 7 goals in between that, and it's just I think it was the game plan, really. We just started too slow. The last quarter, you know, they pulled their finger out, said, let's change it. They started going fast, started going direct, and it was so bad to see. It was just terrible. It was absolutely shithouse. You'll see a bunch of Instagram posts come out and say Brodie Grundy had a great game, over 20 disposals, 10 clearances, 73 goddamn hitouts. But 73 hitouts, that's amazing, you know? Let me hit you with this little stat. Grundy had 73 hitouts to the Giants' 16. So you think that after smashing them in the hitouts, we would win clearances, first use to the ball, give us a little bit of run, give us more inside 50s, but like I've been saying for most of the season, teams just rove off Grundy and our midfield do nothing about it. Of those 73 hitouts, the Giants won 54 clearances to our 33. Tell me, how the hell do we have the best ruckman in the game and he's just not dominant? Our midfield isn't doing anything to help him. 35 clearances. Guess who had 10 of those clearances? Grundy, which means that our midfield had 25 clearances combined. Treloar, Adams, Scott Pendlebury, Rupert Wills. Crisp had none when he went in there. Whoever was in that midfield, Callum Brown, whoever was in that midfield had 25 clearances in between them. Your ruckman got pretty much 1/3 of your clearances. So if Grundy decides to leave in the end, you know, big deal. We're not even using him to our advantage anyway. We're using him as a midfielder. So it doesn't matter if you have a dominant ruckman if you're not gonna use him. So it's just absolutely pathetic that our midfield got ragdolled by GWS's midfield without Toby Green, without Caniglio, without Delidio, and without Whitfield. It's just crap, shithouse, and disgusting. There were a lot of players that were just there to take in the lights, take in the beauty of playing a prelim final at the MCG. Ben Reid, Brodie Myercheck, Will Hoskin-Elliott, those 3 combined for 14 disposals and 1 goal between them. 3 of our pretty much key forwards. And even just on that, Ben Reid, bringing him in, great idea. You know, I was an advocate for it. I thought we needed a taller target, but I didn't know it was going to rain. I'm not the Bureau of Meteorology, I'm not Jane Bunn, but the coaches should know that it was going to be pouring down. And you know, you can make late changes. Well, you get fined $1,000 if you make it too late or whatever it is. Bring Varco in. The ball went to ground more often than it didn't. We weren't taking big marks in the forward line anyway. This was clear for a small forward kind of day. This is when you needed Varco in there to be crumbing them, because no one was doing that. Every player in that forward 50 plays tall. Elliott plays taller than he does. Stevenson, Will Hoskin-Elliott. The ball was on the ground, like I said, more often than not. And to play Ben Reid, to play a tall timber in this rain is just ridiculous, and it comes down on the coaching selection staff, their committee, Buckley, just anyone who thought that this would be a good idea and not make that late change. Also, it was just a lovely day for our big names to just fall silent. No one had over 30 disposals. Treloar had 22, Adams had 20, but he only went at 43% or 45% disposal efficiency. Pendlebury was held well by De Boer, which is fair enough. De Boer's a tagger. Pendlebury only had 18 and, barely any influence. But how come, Adams or Wills or someone isn't going up to De Boer and knocking him, not out, but like knocking him away from Pendlebury to give Pendlebury first use of the ball? We weren't playing for the jumper, we weren't playing for each other. Everyone just thought they sit back and let someone else do their job. Well, it's not that episode of The Simpsons where Homer came out and said, the garbage man can, and everyone will do that stuff for you.
But can the garbage man really do all the things you said?
Oh, the garbage man can, Marge. The garbage man can. Who can take your trash out? Stomp it down for you. Shake the plastic bag and do the twisty thingy too. The garbage man.
Oh, the garbage man can.
It just doesn't work out like that. Callum Brown, 10 disposals. Chris Mayne, 9 disposals. I could go on and on. Looking at the AFL app now, it's just ridiculous. I can go on and on about it in this whole video. It's just, how can you win a game of football like that? It's the biggest game, it's the second biggest game of the season, and they're just I don't want to swear, they just, it was just disappointing. I'm disappointed, I'm upset. Far out. One, Jeremy Howe, just kept trying. 2, Darcy Moore, built for finals football. 3, Jack Crisp. He's probably the only midfielder that can raise his head and say that he had a good game, because everyone else played shithouse. Alright, so I've refrained from doing it all season. I don't like blaming anyone but ourselves for the loss, and I'm not saying it's anyone else's fault. Kicking no goals in 64 minutes is just utterly disgraceful, but far out. I'm going to be a typical Collingwood supporter here, and some of those umpiring decisions were just freaking mind-blowing. How they didn't see some of this shit was just, it's just beyond me, absolutely beyond me. And just give me 1 second, please. It's conspiracy time. I want to talk about this GWS conspiracy that I literally just made up today. So, the AFL wants the GWS Giants to play off in a grand final and to win a grand final. Let me tell you why I think so. Coniglio was going to sign with Carlton. Everyone was reporting it. It was pretty much set in stone. What was it, 9 million over 7 years or something ridiculous like that. The CEO, Gil McLachlan, comes out and says, oh, you know what, I would love for Coniglio to stay at GWS. One, why the hell is the CEO of the AFL coming out and saying that? 2, Coniglio stays at GWS for $2.5 million less than what Carlton were going to give him. And yeah, Luke, why do you think it's a conspiracy theory? No one wants to play for Carlton. But if I was getting paid $9 million over 7 seasons to play for Carlton, I'm going to play for Carlton. I don't give a shit, mate. $9 million bucks, take $2.5 million less, stay at GWS, fine, might be loyalty or something. But Gil doesn't come out, and then 2 weeks later, Coniglio stays there. So that's conspiracy number 1. Conspiracy number 2, I'm calling it the Green Conspiracy. Toby Green. Alright, so this started at the Bulldogs game. Look at this footage of what he did to Marcus Bontempelli, grabbing his head, smashing it all on the ground, eye gouging, the whole works. You do that in a regular season, that's at least, I reckon 2 to 3 weeks. He got a $7,500 fine and a slap on the wrist. So you're thinking, okay, but Luke, that could have just been, you know, they just wanted him to play for finals. It's only $7,500. What's the conspiracy theory around this? He got done the week after for a week. That's where the conspiracy comes into play. What Toby Green did, and I might be the first to say this, but it didn't constitute a week suspension. I wanted it to be a week because I didn't want him to play against Collingwood because I know how good he is. But you do that during the regular season, anyone else does that. It's not a week suspension. He barely did anything. There was not enough circumstantial evidence to give him a week. So now you're probably asking yourself, but why did he get banned for then if, you know, it shouldn't be a week? He got banned for a week because of what he did the week prior to Bontempelli and only getting away with a fine. What would it look like if he did that to Bontempelli and then he does that to Lachie Neale and the AFL just says, yeah, nah, that's fine, here's another fine? Everyone will just be up in arms, you know? So the AFL had to give him a week. They had to put on this whole charade of, you know, appeals. They couldn't just let him off again. It would have been ridiculous. So they had to bite the bullet and give him a week. Now, the third conspiracy. These umpires. You're probably thinking, Luke, who are these umpires paid by? Just, you know, taxpayers? Nah, mate. They are paid by the AFL. Gil McLachlan himself. Wouldn't be surprised if he put money out of his own pocket towards them. But some of these calls are just ridiculous. I've never seen more holding calls not paid than in this game. And look at this one bit of footage here with Finlayson in the forward 50, in the Giants forward 50, pushing Grundy, 2 hands extended right into the back. Grundy falls over, Finlayson grabs the ball, and then goal. And that's the goal that we lose by. This footage of Tomlinson running out in the last quarter, you know, he might have been 12 metres out of bounds. The umpire still called play on. Everyone stopped around him. He brings the ball, you know, up 30 metres, and it just doesn't give us that tackle or that stoppage inside our 50, and we go on to lose the game. You know, I'm going to have GWS supporters, or, you know, if they have any, or any other supporters, but you guys won the free kick count 24-17. Okay, big fucking deal, mate. But we didn't get those vital free kicks, or those vital free kicks didn't get paid for us when any of the other seasons or during the season they do. So another season's done and dusted. Waste of a season, in my opinion. I'm sure a lot of other Pie supporters have the same opinion. It was just a pathetic display, a pathetic way to sum up our season. You know, in the end, did we deserve to be in the position that we were in? Maybe, maybe not. Were we a top 4 team? Who's to say? We finished top 4, but did we really deserve to be there? Who knows? We did earn our spot there, though. Would we have done better in the grand final if we had won? Honestly, I don't think we would have. I think Richmond would have smashed us. The last thing I needed was to lose to Richmond by over 40 points in the grand final. I wouldn't have stopped crying. So, but that is it for Swoop Luke. Normal season Swoop Luke. Now comes off season, the fun times, trades, drafts. What else happens during the off season? Parties, I guess. Do the players party? They go to Bali. I'll be there in Bali filming them. So yeah, thank you all for sticking by me throughout this season. We'll come back bigger and better in 2020. Just have to believe, just have to say side by side. And, you know, I'll see you throughout the off season. Like I just said, whenever something breaks or there's rumours and stuff, I'll do a quick video. You know, I love making these videos. Also, a big congratulations to our AFL women's team, you know, our VFL women's team winning the premiership. Finally, a team that hasn't let us down. So a huge congratulations to them. It's amazing, and it kind of lessens the pain of what happened yesterday. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and until next time, double shackers, I'll swoop you later. GW West, without, what's his fucking name? Now, I don't ever want to, no, fuck that, I don't give a fuck. And a slap in the wrist. Slap in the wrist?